Heyo everybody, Haku here with an Omniscient Reader, or Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint character ranking as of chapter 220, which I just finished. And yeah, I'm gonna do all of the characters listed here. There are some that I haven't gotten to yet, so I'll ignore those. But I did originally plan to do this as a stream. I put up a poll asking if people would prefer a stream or a video, and more people said video, but it was kind of close, so I feel bad for those of you who wanted this as a stream. I'm sorry that I'm doing it as a video instead. I realized after making the poll, I was like, well, now I'm going to disappoint people either way, because people who want it as a video might not get it that way. People who want it as a stream might not get it that way, but it's already Wednesday as I'm recording this. The biggest reason really is that I really couldn't get time to set everything up for the stream ahead of time. I never really 100% know when exactly I'm going to get free time, so it's hard for me to say, oh, I'll do the stream at exactly 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. I usually just do YouTube stuff as soon as I get free time. So I didn't have stuff set up ahead of time to do it right now, but I have time to record right now, and if I don't record right now, I don't know if I'll be able to record it this week, and I just really didn't want to take a week off. I want to keep going. I want to do this ranking, I want to talk about the characters, and I want to do the, I want to keep reading next week. So because of that, I was like, I don't want to push it back another week. I want to just do it as a video. And also as a video, I think the other sort of secondary reason, the big reason is that I didn't have time to set up the stream ahead of time. And I was like, you know, if this is my time to do it this week, I really want to do it. The other reason, though, is for some of these characters, when I went onto the tier list, I was like, oh right, they existed. Or characters that I was like, oh, I don't remember them too super well. So because of that, I can just take a couple minutes of silence to go reread the chapter or chapters a couple of these characters were in if I need to, and taking that moment to go reread for a little bit is probably something that will help. So if there's any like jump cuts in this, it's because I went to look up the characters, reread them a bit, and give you really, because something that people said, they just want my full thoughts on the characters, give you a real discussion of all of them. Now, I'm actually going to save the best for last like usual, and I'm going to start from the bottom and then work my way to the older characters, because some of these that haven't been around for as long or just weren't around very much at all, I probably won't have as much to say about, whereas I'll have plenty to say about sort of our main important characters. But with that all aside, I think that's all of the intro stuff I needed to do. So really quick, the last thing I'll do before I start ranking is say that I will be continuing with the read-throughs starting with next week. I said before that I also want to do like more arc reviews, like taking notes on an arc and reviewing it. I will do those in the future, but right now we're like 30-some, 40-some chapters behind. So for the next couple weeks, I'll probably still stick to read-throughs, but then I'll start throwing in some reviews here and there on top of the read-throughs. So there is that. And then honestly, you know, once I get through reviewing all the arcs and I'm caught up that way, you know, an arcs ranked worst to best video sounds pretty good. I thought about that when I realized I was doing this as a video, not as a stream. I was like, the tier list works to make it easy for a stream, but if I knew ahead of time I was going to do this as a video, I could have really just taken notes on all the characters and done like a ranking worst to best. Really, that's not off the table still. I could still do that on top of this at some point in the future. But either way, let's rank the characters from where we are now, and I also just yesterday went back and reread the last 10 chapters, so I am sort of refreshed on the stuff we just read. This is Haku from Later On cutting in. I want to ask you all, if you want to, if you've been watching my read-throughs and reactions and everything, leave your predictions for who you think my favorite characters are down below in the comments. And then, you know, when you get to the end, we'll see how well you did and everything, because I want to see what people's predictions are, how well they think they know how much I like or dislike certain characters based on what they've seen through my read-throughs, because I wonder if my love or my not as much love for certain characters has come through in my read-throughs and anything. So I would love to see some predictions of characters you think, where I would rank them. So again, just cutting, I've already finished recording, cutting this in to ask you all if you want to leave your predictions. It'd be really fun to see how close they are. So if I'm going to start out at the bottom here, I'm going to do my best to ignore characters I don't know yet. We have weird Freddy Krueger looking guy. Is this supposed to be the fourth wall? Okay. I didn't, so I have this zoomed in because I know sometimes in videos it might be hard to see on Tier Maker for some tier lists. So I have it zoomed in so that the pictures can look crisper for all of you. At first, I thought that this was a character I hadn't met yet, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and then there's this thing too. I think this is meant to be the fourth wall, and this is a secretive plotter, of course. Okay. This is going to be a more complex discussion to start us out than I thought it would be. If we're talking about the fourth wall and counting the fourth wall as a character, fourth wall to me is like S tier. I added also with my tiers, I have an S plus and an S plus plus for you all. I tried not to think too deeply about it before coming to record this so that, you know, it's not basically just a pre-arranged thing and I'm really thinking through things in front of you all. But I do have like certain characters just when I think about the series. There's like 4 that I'm thinking, oh, they'll probably be in my top 5, and then like 4 more that are probably in contention for that 5th spot. But who knows what else I forgot? Because honestly, now that I'm thinking about fourth wall is one that I didn't even think about before coming to record. But fourth wall, I'm almost tempted to put an S plus tier. Just the concept, the idea of the fourth wall has been done so well in the series so far. And on top of that, the interactions with Dokja and the stuff we just had sort of before the Demon King stuff were so good that as a character interacting with other characters, it's amazing. Like, I really, really like the fourth wall. The fourth wall is one of the most interesting things in the entire series. And I'm going to put it in S for now, but I'm honestly contemplating S+. I don't want to give those away too easily, but I'm honestly contemplating S+. Like, I love fourth wall that much. Before fourth wall, we have Secretive Plotter, who is kind of the same sort of deal, just this mysterious force that I'm like, oh, I'm excited to figure out more of the secrets about Secretive Plotter and all of that. And also has been one of the constellations that's been dropping super chats and dropping chat messages in ORV since the very beginning of the series. Yeah, and Secretive Plotter, of course, with the things that we've seen so far, has got to be one that's going to be more important to the main plot, whether there's a connection to Dokja, like future Dokja himself is Secretive Plotter, or whether it's like Secretive Plotter is connected to TLS 123. There are a lot of options that could make Secretive Plotter really, really, really core to the series. Right now, I wouldn't put Secretive Plotter as high as fourth wall. I'm still thinking about S tier, but I'll go A for now. I really like Secretive Plotter, but it is mostly, compared to a lot of the others, even a lot of the other constellations, Secretive Plotter isn't one that I think has shown as much personality as some of the others, but it is a character that's more exciting. So beyond those two, we get into the Devourer of Dreams, or whatever it was called, the sort of Eldritch Outer God. And at first, this is another one that clicking onto this, I didn't really think about that as a character, but yeah, it had its own motivations, its goals, the conversations with Dokja and everything. So it is, when I think of it as a character, I think of more like the astral projected bear than I think of the actual physical form. It was a good, like, part of a really amazing arc and subplot, but I don't think too much of it as a character. Like, I think of it as like a very good plot device, but not that much of a character. I did like its interactions with Dokja, though. I think I would still maybe say A tier just because of what a good part of the story that was. And also, I do think the conversations were really entertaining. I think, you know, with its defeat and everything, it was a bit, it seemed a bit not the brightest in some ways, of course, because it doesn't have, like, some of this extra knowledge that other characters do, which is, you know, in itself a little bit ironic. I will say A though, just because I really enjoyed it, but I do feel like I am someone who can kind of like go into a bit of recency bias, where I can be like, whoa, this is the cool new thing, I really really like this, and then a couple months I'd be like, oh yeah, they were kind of whatever. I'm honestly, much like I was saying, I was thinking of S tier for Secretive Plotter. I'm thinking of maybe dropping the Devourer of Dreams. I might even be getting the name incorrect. Probably am. I'm thinking about dropping it to B tier. I'll leave it in A for right this second, though, because there's some characters that I think, if I put this in A tier, some of the characters that I think are probably B tier for me is going to be maybe a little controversial. But continuing from there, we have the, I don't even know if we've gotten a name for this Dokkaebi yet, the one with the mustache and beard that's been hanging out watching the monitors with B Young. But I do like them. They've really mostly been just a little bit of a sounding board for B Young's character to bounce off of, and for us to have a spectator watching on for the Dokja stuff that was happening. And stuff with his mom and everything. That is kind of the purpose there. Like, again, I didn't feel too much individual character from this Dokkaebi. More so, I just felt like they were more there to give B Young somebody to talk to while watching all of this, and to continue B Young's character. So, for me, I love there is also going to be a Dokkaebi tax. The Dokkaebi are going to be rated very highly because I love them so much. I'm going to stick to B for now. I was honestly considering A. I'll stick to B just because I haven't seen enough. We haven't seen that much. I am intrigued, but there are Dokkaebi that I definitely like more than this one. So, past that Dokkaebi, we've got, why am I forgetting Ruler of Paradise's name? Freaking Gerbil, Jerba, that's what it was. Something von Jerba. Okay, I remembered on my own that it was Reinhardt von Jerba, but just in case, for future reference, I pulled up a list of characters in another tab. That way I can just have it prepared ahead of time if I start forgetting more in the future. But I thought Jerba was okay. Like, okay, good villain and all. I like the sort of little paradise arc and all. But when I think about that arc, I think more about other characters who had bigger moments and better development. I think of the kids actually getting to do a bit. Hui Won is the big one getting development there. Even though she was sort of away from the group a bit, Sang-ah had the stuff with the fate and everything that was going on kind of during the same time. Then, of course, a big thing for me is Soo-young and Dokja out in the car. That's something I think about a lot. So really, Reinhardt is a good character, but honestly just overshadowed by some of the others in sort of the same arc. I think as far as villains go, I think a lot more about the main characters than I do about the antagonists, so to speak, of the various arcs. So the antagonists aren't really, like, huge to me in ORV. I don't know, I feel like most of ORV is just focused on Dokja's character journey and Dokja in specific. With some really great side characters, of course, or else I wouldn't need an S+, and S++ tier. But so much of the focus is just on Dokja himself that often the side characters I feel kind of get left behind a bit, and especially antagonists, not a lot of them stand out very strong. And I think, honestly, out of all of them, Jerba's maybe one of the strongest. Then I'm saying this and I'm saying right above him, a better antagonist, but Jerba was very good. I just think not a huge one that I connected with. I would say definitely A. I would even put Jerba above the Eater of Dreams, even though I guess the sort of arc with the Eater of Dreams was maybe better. That was mostly because, again, of Dokja's journey, him and his mother, rather than using this as an antagonist, especially since it was basically being allowed to run amok because of the influence of the Nebulae. So really the Nebulae were the real bad guys behind it and everything. So it didn't really have as much character to me. I do like Secretive Plotter more. Again, I'm really thinking Secretive Plotter might move up once we get some more characters on the board. But I'm taking a while to talk about these. Let's, next we have the Triple X Tentacion. the Demon Earl Tentasio. I feel like Tentasio wasn't around that much. Maybe I'm just like skimming over a lot of Tentasio in my head, but I really feel like we got the introduction, then we got a bunch of stuff away from Tentasio, and then we get the actual fight, which lasts a very short amount of time. Tentasio was a fun character with a really cool design, though. I do love the design a lot. There's some things that I feel, again, I think I said it when I was reacting, that I was like, some people would take this in a weird way. I feel like it could have gone in an even sexier direction. Is that what I said at the time? I don't remember. But I think that some of the ideas here of introducing us to like our first kind of demon here and having sort of like the animal-like characteristics, the horn-type characteristics, the sort of somewhat masculine parts of some of the body and then feminine parts of other parts of the body. They really nailed a lot of these different sort of demon-like tropes in character design. So I think the character design is really the best part of the character, but the actual character themselves wasn't as good or memorable for me. They were, again, mainly just an introduction to Dark Castle. I actually think that that placement's fair. B tier, because I do like them, and I would certainly not be like, the story would be fine without them. But at the same time, I'm a sucker for the Dokkaebi, and I think the Dokkaebi with a monocle and beard is just, like, that's pretty adorable. I'd say that's higher. Again, both of them kind of light on character so far. I doubt we'll get any more from Tentasio, since they are kind of out of the picture, so to speak, and I don't know if we'll get any more from this Dokkaebi, but yeah, I think their character designs are working on me more than their actual characters themselves. Next up is a name I'm actually going to have to look up. Wow, I thought that he or she, again, I'm not sure which would be proper to use at this juncture in their life, but I am not sure how I feel. I don't really remember their name. I'll have to look it back up. But I thought when they were introduced and they went along with the group, because it's like, okay, we have a plan, we'll use them later. I thought that they were just going to be around more and do more and exist in the cast a bit more. And then they kind of just didn't do anything and weren't around ever again. And it's like, okay, well, maybe never mind. Maybe they weren't actually that much of a character. And we even got like a little kind of mini backstory going on and everything. Maybe they'll appear again in the future and will be important in the future, but so far they really just didn't like do anything. Hold on, I'm gonna go look up the name. It was Kim Young Paul, or So Ina, and something that I just sort of realized, just sort of picked up on, is actually it's going to be a little bit difficult of me to to figure out, like, having a list of character names. And which character was that again? Because most of the names are just very normal Korean names. So for some of these little minor characters, that might be a little bit on the difficult end. But yeah, I re-looked through their story and kind of didn't change my thoughts at all. A character that I thought would be more kind of ended up not doing anything. The idea behind the character is neat. Honestly, I would say probably C tier. I really want to like the character, Kim Young Paul or Soyina. I really want to like them. I like the idea behind the character. But the issue I have is that they just didn't do anything. They just weren't really around anymore. So that's my disappointment is going in C tier. And I think you'll see that a lot with some of the rankings that I'm thinking about in the future. With some of the more important characters that I know I might not put super highly. I think that I am also very influenced by how much a character exceeds what I expect the character to do or be, and how much the character I expect to kind of do or be something, and how much they don't live up to that expectation. I think that both for the characters that are ranked really highly and lowly, I think that you're going to see that come into play a bit. Next up is Uriel, and Uriel, before even discussing, I can say is S+ tier. Uriel is one of my favorites. I love from the beginning all of the sort of constellation characters that have been with us from the start chatting, but then when we got more into the future, not only did we get more into their individual personalities, but Uriel's specifically. I feel like Uriel has been possibly the most important of them, probably the most important, at least the most, maybe not more important than Secretive Plotter, of course, but more emotionally connected. I feel like we've seen more emotion, more sort of individual character agency, and just in general, not only have I enjoyed the character and I felt emotional, like right there at the end of what we just read at like chapter 220, with Dokja's quote-unquote death and everything. Again, spoilers for up to 220, but if you're at this video, you probably know. Yeah, something that I just reread when I was rereading the past 10 chapters, the fourth wall spirit thing that Dokja's mom saw said, you know, Kim Dokja knows how to handle this or whatever. So that makes me think, okay, does that mean that Dokja has a, like, from where I am in the story right now, I don't actually think he's going to be permadead, but they're making it seem like he's permadead. So from that, it's like, okay, does that mean that he has a plan and he's not really permadead? Or does that mean that the plan was death? But either way, the emotional stuff was very good. But on top of that, I rate entertainment very highly. And Uriel is one of the absolute most entertaining characters. I would say like top 3, maybe even top 5 for sure. Top 3 because like characters like Junghyuk or Seyoung come to mind, but then also Dokja can be really entertaining at times. Young as well can be really entertaining. But S+ for me. I absolutely love Uriel. Then from there we have, this is Oedipus, correct? So Oedipus is an interesting character. I do like Olympus specifically, and really Olympus, Vedas, and there was one more that often serves, Papyrus, often serve as kind of antagonistic forces. I like them as antagonists, but specifically Olympus have been really good at these antagonistic scenes so far, and like trying to win over Dokja, but kind of trying to strong arm him, and it's, you know, not a very good kind of trying to win him over. And on top of that, I just think that Oedipus's design is really freaking cool. Like that, you can say that about all of these designs. Like, look at this. This is a just reel of insanely good character designs. But specifically Oedipus's, I think, is really cool. So, very cool design, cool part in the story. Again, I really like the scene. Was it at the banquet when there was the individual discussion with Dokja? That was really good. And honestly, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'd go below Jerba and above the Sword of Outer God. So that's what I'm thinking right now. But again, once I get some more on the board, I might switch some of these around a little bit. Then we have the member of Vedas, who I'm not remembering. I'm going to need to go look at this. Okay, it's Manu. I am surprised at myself. I was like, it's something that starts with an M, right? And I was able to find the name right away, reread some of the banquet stuff. And yeah, I think Manu is also a very good antagonistic force as part of the antagonistic nebulae. I said before that I think the nebulae have been good antagonists so far. The design is incredibly cool. I like the design a lot. While I don't like him as much as Oedipus, because I feel like he hasn't shown as much personality, and Oedipus's design is just insanely cool. While I don't think I would put him as high as Oedipus, I kind of still want to put him in A tier, but it's just there were some characters that I was thinking I'd end up with B tier that I really don't think I should put below him. So I'll put him at the bottom of A tier right now. I don't know. Actually, I'll go B tier because I kind of like the Dokubi more. I just like this Dokubi. Look at him. He has a monocle and a beard. I'll put him here for now, but just know that I do like him as an antagonist. I just don't feel like I've seen as much personality out of him as Oedipus. Next up comes Korea's next top swordsman, the next top model. So the top swordsman of Goryeo, I like him a lot, but he's just kind of like, oh, cool character. He's kind of there, and he's very strong, and how strong he is used to like have really cool hype moments with Dokcha, and it's just like, this guy's really cool. Don't you see how cool he is? Isn't he cool? Which isn't the most entertaining character type to me personally. However, I do like all the conversations with Dokcha within his head and everything, the voice within his head. All the stuff there with Dokcha and Junghyuk was very good. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted because I do think he's cool and I like him, but I just like, I don't feel like I've seen that much outside of, oh, he's super cool and super strong. That's basically the crux of his character, is being super cool and super strong. Gosh, this is tough for me. So I would say that Jerba ranks higher for me because I think that he was a more complex character as an antagonist and was a really good part of the arc that he was antagonist of. I think Oedipus has just got a cooler design, and to me, I think the sort of face of, like, being a little bit of the face of one of the antagonistic nebulae is good. Then the stuff with Dokcha and his mom and the sort of Outer World God, I think, is really cool. And as a character, the Outer World God is maybe a little bit neater to me with the interactions with Dokcha. So I don't know. It's kind of close between the two of these, and I'm almost thinking about bumping both of them down to B tier. I don't know. Does that make me feel better if I'm... Because really, again... Nah, I'm going to stick with A tier there. Because again, I feel like the character was still good. I still like the character of the Outer World God. It's mostly the story surrounding it that's good. But I still like the interactions with Dokcha, so I'll still stick with A for now. But honestly, I'm going to go Top Swordsman and B, I think. I do like the Top Swordsman, but again, that type of character, I'm not really the big punch big equal good kind of just shonen brain, big punch, punch big, big punch. I'm not caveman brained for that, so... You know, for me, I'm going to say B tier for now. I like them not all that much. So moving on from there, we have the Russian girl whose name I will have to look up, but I really, 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 really liked her. Edis, I did really, really, really like her. I thought she was very good. So this is a tough one because she wasn't around in the story very much, but I do like her design. I do really want to see her again, and I loved her there at the banquet with Dokcha and Junghyuk. I just think I liked that arc a lot. This is tough because I'm thinking about her, I'm thinking about Manu, thinking about the swordsman. We've seen more of the swordsman and more of the swordsman personality, but again, this is the list of the characters I liked most. And if I'm thinking about it that way, I really need to pull off the band-aid and just drop, as much as I love that part of the story, just drop the Outer World God down to B tier. And I'll even go below the swordsman, honestly. Because if it's like, what characters I like the most, I think this is fair. B tier is like solid, good characters. C, I still liked them, but I wanted more out of them. These A tier characters are characters that I really genuinely liked a lot and thought were really good in the story. And if you're like, oh, you can have this character back to do more things, I would rather... I don't know, I think having Oedipus do cool things, especially if it was antagonistic things, would be cool. I think I would rather have Edis than either of these. Of course, Reinhardt's most likely never coming back. But I would put Edis there, I think. And then there's the other one. I think she was Selena Kim from the banquet. Again, just looking back over the banquet stuff when I was looking at Edis. I also really liked her. I don't think, to me, see, she wasn't as funny. That's the thing. She wasn't as funny. She wasn't as comedic. She didn't have the big sort of personality that Edis did, which is why I kind of like her a little bit less. But I also really want to see more of her, and I think she was a very good inclusion. I just really like that segment of the story, and that, of course, as you've seen with a lot of these, kind of affects my opinions. I think that I would be more interested in seeing more of her than the swordsman, but I think from what we've seen so far, I like the swordsman more. So that's where I'd put her for right now, at least. At least that's what I'm feeling at the moment. That's, you know, I feel like my opinions can change so easily. And next, you have shown me Monkey. We have Prisoner of the Golden Headband, who is one of those characters that's been around from the very beginning. Very cool. Love the design. And yeah, I don't know. I've never been the hugest Wukong kind of guy, but I really like Prisoner of the Golden Headband. I'm thinking, oh, I was thinking A tier, but then I feel like I like Swordsman. No, I like it more than Swordsman. We're going A tier. Oedipus or Prisoner of the Golden Headband, which is the name we have heard him by more. Honestly, if we didn't have pictures and you were just asking me without pictures, I might say Prisoner of the Golden Headband. But seeing their designs, I just really like Oedipus's design. So I'm going to go like this for now. And of course, of the characters that have been around, like maybe the 4-ish that have been around, sort of dropping super chats from the beginning, with like Demonic Judge of Fire, Secretive Plotter, Prisoner of the Golden Headband, and Abyssal Black Flame Dragon. Of those 4, just thinking of like how they've chatted through the chat boxes, I think that Prisoner of the Golden Headband's maybe my least favorite of those 4, but I do still like him a lot. Again, A tier, I couldn't put him below A tier. Then, which is going to be weird considering some I could definitely put below A tier. Then we have Dionysus, who is most often not shown up within this form. Dionysus is good too. I like that Dionysus is kind of this split off for us from most of the characters in Olympus. The interactions with Dokja have been good. The connections with oh, I'm forgetting her name, the Queen of Darkest Spring, Persephone. The interactions or the connection there has been good. So this is a tough one for me too. I like the Swordsman more. Yeah, B tier's fine. Again, maybe I shouldn't give away A tier so easily. I was kind of thinking of A tier, but I do like the Swordsman more. I do think I like Dionysus more than Selena, so I think this is where I'd keep them for the moment. So from there, we get into why am I blanking on a name? We get into the Nirvana Mobius or Mobius Nirvana? Which one was it? I think it was Nirvana Mobius. Morbius, they're mobbing. They're mobbing every. I loved when they said it's mobbing time and then mobbed all over Dokja's mom. Mobius was maybe, or I kind of feel like I say Nirvana more often. Nirvana was maybe the best antagonist. A very good antagonist. Brought a lot out of Dokja and Jungkook's characters. I think maybe not the best antagonist in terms of that part of the story being the most compelling, but the best antagonist in being an antagonist with a really cool sort of personality and backstory and sort of goals and the way they went about making their moves. In that sense, very good antagonist. Not the best though, I'm thinking, but very good. I'm wondering, A or S tier is kind of what I'm thinking. I do prefer Secretive Plotter, and I think I also prefer Iris, but I definitely prefer Nirvana over the gerbil. So I'm gonna go here for right now. Might be underrating Nirvana, but I'm going to go there for now. And next we start getting into some of the Peaceland characters, and I'll be so for real with you, I am not going to remember these names very well. First is Izumi Hiroki, who was like the leader of the Tokyo Dome incarnations, barely did anything. I was like, they didn't do anything right. So I looked at the wiki summary, and I try to stay far away from the wiki because I don't want to get spoiled on anything. And the wiki description was like, appeared in the web novel, or like was mentioned in the web novel a total of 6 times, but role was expanded in the webtoon. And I was like, oh, so it was even less than what we got in the webtoon. very cool design, very cool character from some of the like stuff we heard from some of the other characters around him. But, you know, the weeb inside of me cannot overcome the mid that the character was. I'm honestly kind of thinking D tier. You know, it would have been really cool to see these characters and see them do more, but he didn't really do anything and wasn't that cool to me. Maybe D tier is a bit harsh, but I'm kind of thinking D tier. Again, it was just kind of a nothing character. Like I mentioned, C being a character, the only one in there so far being a character I like. I just wanted more from. This is a character that just didn't really do anything, honestly. From there, I think we have Yamato no Orochi. And honestly, this is why I was kind of having a tough time with whether I would say that when it comes to making their moves and doing certain things, that Nirvana was the best antagonist. Because honestly, when it comes to being a cool antagonist, Yamato no Orochi was a really cool antagonist. Maybe the coolest antagonist. So I'm a little bit torn here, honestly. What am I thinking? This is tough. Do I like Orochi more than Nirvana? I think I honestly do. I'm kind of lumping the villains together a bit. But not more than Iris or Secret of Plotter. I think for right now that looks good. So then next up, this is Kyrgios, right? So we have Kyrgios Rodgrame. I think Kyrgios is very, very, very similar to the Korea's Next Top Model, the Goryeo Top Swordsman. But I like Kyrgios a lot more. I think Kyrgios' backstory and role in the arc was very neat. The way that Kyrgios' abilities have carried forward into the series is cool too. I really liked Kyrgios' story. Even though I think Kyrgios is limited by being that same sort of, look, aren't they cool character? For me personally, there's more of the rebellion against the other constellations aspect of the Top Swordsman and everything, which is a neat extra thing. But even with that, I just think Kyrgios, personally, I like the personality more. I don't think I would put Kyrgios above Prisoner of the Golden Headband, though, just because Prisoner of the Golden Headband's been with us so long. I really, really like them. Yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty stacked A tier. Just a lot of characters that I really like and I think are really good. I think really the characters are going to be stacked a bit high when it comes to this ranking. So then we're at, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name. She was Azusa or something like that? Or no, that's not quite right. Asuka Ren. Asuka Ren is very good. I am a little conflicted. She didn't do a ton, but I did like her character a lot. I think the big thing for me with her is the interactions with Dokja, and even more than that, it is the sort of writing aspect of things and what happens when sort of your story's out of your hands and everything like that, because it leads so much into Dokja's character journey, which is the main theme of ORV. That's the main thing ORV's got going on. With all of that in mind, it just kind of makes me like her a lot in the grand scheme of the story, but as like a personal character, again, me being won over a lot by how entertaining they are, how much they add to the story and panels and scenes they're in, she's just kind of okay. Not the most entertaining or anything like that. I would definitely not go any lower than B tier. I really like her, and I'd love to see more. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's been a while since I've read that part of the story. Even going back to like glance through and everything, I like her a lot. But if it's see more of her or see more of Selena, I think maybe it's because I know less about Selena. I think I'd be more interested in seeing more there. So yeah, I would definitely go here. And honestly, it's kind of like a bottom of B and top of B sort of thing, because I feel like these four, I feel like there's a gap in how much I like them compared to these four. But I wouldn't move these down to C tier. So it's kind of a B plus and B minus. But then we've got this guy whose name I'm forgetting. Let me go look up his name. Yamamoto Hajime, the centipede guy, who okay, it was like Centipede Guy mistaken is the Yamato no Orochi. I was like, oh, I thought he was a I thought he was like a basically messenger of the Yamato no Orochi, but then I had to refresh myself on the story. I was like, oh, okay, nope, never mind, I was incorrect. He was pretty alright. He was okay. I think he was a neat little sort of mini arc villain and was quite cool. So I would obviously not like him as much as them. This is tough because I did really like him and I like the design and everything. The centipedes were cool and all. But then it's like, compared to some of these others, it's like, I don't, maybe, yeah, that's maybe better. Because I think Manu is more interesting than him, but I think that he did more and is more, again, as much Dokubi tax, as much as that's real, I just think that he did more and was more interesting than the Dokubi. I don't know though, because even though all the Dokubi did was talk to be young, it was still kind of at a cool part of the story, and it added a lot to what was going on with Dokja and everything. I don't know, I'm having a tough time ranking some of these. Then we have Shoji Michio, whose name I don't need help remembering, I think was the most entertaining of the Japanese incarnations. I have trouble, I think when I first read, I maybe would have put Asuka higher because of the like writing stuff and Dokja and everything, but I feel like Michio was more entertaining to me, so it's tough to decide between the two. Honestly, the two of them, I would say, play similar roles in the arc. I don't know if I'd put him slightly higher or slightly lower. This is tough. I think maybe if I had just read it, and it was like the newest thing to me, maybe I would have deeper thoughts on the two of them and the differences. I'll put him just below her though. I think that's fair enough. Now we have, I think her name was Lee Bok-sun. We have the old lady, part of the prison gang. Pretty neat. Not the best character to me. Like, definitely don't like her as much as Kyrgios or the swordsman. You know? Maybe more than Dionysus? Let me think. This is a tough one. I don't know. I feel like B tier is tough because they're all characters that I just like but don't stick out as much to me. Maybe here. I don't know. I'll put her here for now and then think about it more in a minute. When I get the other characters up here. I feel like I'm taking forever. I'm so sorry. This video is already like going on an hour probably. Then we have the Queen of Darkest Spring, Persephone, right? I think this is her at least. And if that's the case, I don't think we see any other version of her up here. Like the one version that looks like Sang-ah. So I think this is just her. So Persephone is very entertaining, very cool. You know, Hades isn't up here. Some of the really minor characters aren't. If there's any characters that aren't up here that you want me or want my thoughts on, just tell me and I'll give my thoughts on them when I do my next read through. Persephone. You know, that's a tough one. I think I don't actually like her that much. Like, she's an entertaining character, she's a good character, I guess, and all, but I feel like I just don't like her that much. And I think I might be, I don't know, I'm letting Tentasio's design affect me too much, because I want to move Tentasio up above Manu, but it's really just basically the design that's just doing that. Yeah, it's tough. I will say for now, I'm actually just going to put her here. I don't know. I don't like her that much, actually, is what I'm coming to realize. Like, I like the part of the story and everything with Dokja and the Underworld. That's very, very good, but I actually don't like her very much, I'm coming to realize. Then we have, oh, was it, his name was like Dongi or something like that, or Pongi, something like that. We have this little Dokubi. Let me go again, look up his name. It was Yonki, the sort of replacement for Be Young temporarily. You're getting Dokubi taxed. I really like Yonki. I want more. Yonki is going here, I think. Okay, here, would I put him above any of the trio of villains I have right now? I like him more, well, I'm kind of back and forth between him and Jerba. I wouldn't put him above Nirvana. I'm thinking here for right now. So then we've got the 42nd round Yusung, incredibly good, also an easy A tier. I am thinking, you know, her character is very good. Can't wait to hopefully see more in the future, I guess. The connection with Dokja's neat. All of the sort of interactions when it came to like knowing certain things from the past regression and everything, or past round, but then being like, huh, why are these things different this round and everything? All of that was very good. The arc that she was involved in was very, very good. So this is kind of a tough one for me. Easy A tier at least. I think I would maybe go above the villains. It's tough between her and Iris. I just really want to see Iris again. I thought she was super entertaining. But I will go Yusung above. I'm thinking close to S tier, but not quite S tier. I guess kind of same as Secretive Plotter, who I was wondering whether or not to put into S tier. Those two are kind of in a similar level for me. But I'm still going to put Secretive Plotter a little bit higher. That's what I'm thinking right now. Then we have like main current Yusung that's going on in the current story. I think that she's a very entertaining character, very emotionally satisfying with the connection to Dokja and some of the scenes there. Has some really funny comedy scenes. So I think whether it comes to the emotion, the comedy, the connection with Dokja, and the way that as Dokja's growing as a constellation, him as her supporting constellation, that helps her grow. I think everything except the connection to Gil Young, which is, at first it was like the rivalry was kind of like fun and stuff. But now I kind of wish they were individuals more. I feel like she gets to still be an individual more than he does. But I hate lumping them together so much. Even I've just said, oh, the kids. But I really love her character. I just hope that she sort of gets out of being part of the kids and kind of gets to be her own character more again. I'm stuck between S and A tier. I kind of want to go S tier, but I'll go below the fourth wall. I really, really, really like Yusung. Yeah, I hope she gets to, she has been standing on her own. I don't want to take too much away, but I hope she gets to stand on her own even more moving forward. Then we've got the Catastrophe of Questions, whose name I forget, something with an I, Myung Il-san. So Il-san, Catastrophe of Questions, was one of my favorite parts, like the fight with the main characters that we had was one of my favorite parts of the story. I think the character was very good, getting to see a little bit of the backstory and how they became who they were is neat. I think the design is so very cool, but it's like all of those things are good in like a sort of, objective kind of looking at the story kind of way, but in terms of how much I like the character, I don't like him very much. They're kind of just a jerk. I don't like him very much. I love the part of the story they were in, but I don't like them as a character very much. That is tough. Because honestly, as a character, I like random character who did nothing more. But as part of the story, I like him a lot. That's a tough one. Because I enjoyed that part of the story probably more than I even enjoyed like the fight against Nirvana and everything. But I think that Nirvana is like way cooler and better of a character for me personally. I think if this was more when I had just read this part of the story, I'd put Il-sung much higher. But now at where I am, I feel like we've moved so far past that it's like, okay, well, obviously I like him more than this guy. I'm just going to put him here in B tier for now, because there's a part of me that wants to go C tier because I don't like them as a character, and part of me that wants to go A tier because even though I don't really personally care a lot for some of these characters as much, I put them here because I think they're good. So I'm just going to keep putting characters on the board so far, and then sort of order them a little bit more once they're all up here. Next we have the Insect Queen, whose name I'm forgetting. I'll have to look that one up too. Antinous, that's right. Antinous, very cool design, incredibly cool design. I really wanted her to stick around more and be more in the story, especially like she could have been almost a summoning familiar to Gil Young. But she really didn't. She didn't stick around in the story, which is disappointing. As a villain, she was kind of just okay. We kind of moved past her very, very quickly. So this is another one where the design does some extreme heavy lifting. I would almost say here. Nah, I like the Outer World God's personality more. Yeah, I would maybe say there for now. Then comes Sulhua. It has become a very common joke among my read-throughs for me to just hate on Sulhua for doing nothing ever. And that's kind of how I feel about her character. Again, I mentioned before that for me, you'll see that a lot of the characters that rank super highly are characters that I'm like, okay, I thought they would be, you know, a good part of the cast or whatever, but they've gone above and beyond. And the characters that I'd rank lowly are characters that have really not lived up to expectations. And it's not even that my expectations are set that high, it's that she keeps getting thrown in with the main cast like she's part of the team or something. But other than interacting off screen with like Jung-hyuk, she just doesn't do anything ever for the most part. And I feel like we could have done more with a connection to Dokja. We could have done more with a connection to the rest of the main characters. We could have done more with her, you know, playing a part in things and doing things a bit more. She's barely around. When she is around, it doesn't feel deserved. I'm like, why are you hanging out with the characters that we actually follow and like and are actually good? So I know it's a joke for me to hate on her so much. But honestly, I do think she's an F tier character. Like, if you're going to have her around with the main cast, part of the main cast, it would be nice to A, have her actually do something more often, or B, I think more importantly than doing anything, because we're going to run into a similar issue with Gong Pil-du, but at least Gong Pil-du, I think, has had more character development and has a better connection to Dokja. The issue with Sulhua is, other than Dokja reading the book, it feels like she doesn't have any personal connection to Dokja. She feels like the least deserved character in her position. Even Dokja's mom's roommate feels like she has a much better connection to Dokja and to the rest of the group. And she hasn't even really been around the rest of the group much, whereas Sulhua has been around Jung-hyuk and been around Hyun-sung a bit when they were traveling together with Jung-hyuk and everything. But she just doesn't have a character. She doesn't have a personality other than heals Jung-hyuk occasionally, I guess. That is the breadth of her character, her personality, her anything. She just is around, but is and does nothing. So yeah, I think that's actually going to be an F tier for me. I really don't think that she fits with the rest of the group. And now it's time to get Dokkaebi taxed, because we have Dokgak, and I freaking love Dokgak. The stuff with what is it? The Dokgak, I forget the name for it, but the place where they went to talk with Dokja. There was a Korean word for it that Gamtu? Is that it? I really loved all of that stuff, and I loved the design. I think the only red Dokkaebi we've seen, the horn, the standing on one leg, I don't know if they only have one leg or not, but the facial expressions, oh my god, this is where the art and the design elevates it. The facial expressions were like so... It's such a weird thing. It's like when you look at videos of like puppies or like babies or cute things or whatever, and you're like, that's so adorable. I am like locked into how cute this is. That is me with freaking the Dokkaebis and Dokgak in specific. The facial expressions are so addictive to me and so good and add so much. And these are like evil murderous creatures, but I am viewing them at the same level as like baby animals. I love them so much. I honestly want to put Dokgak in S tier. I just love the Dokkaebi so much. Easily above these, I would say just the tough one is putting Dokgak above the other Yusung. That is the tough issue for me. And then Secretive Plotter as well. But I think when it comes to importance, I like Secretive Plotter more, and Secretive Plotter is something that I'll care about more in the future when we get more into the mystery and everything. But when it comes to just sheer entertainment, I am more entertained by Dokgak, I think. But I would still put Dokgak below Yusung and the Fourth Wall. I was kind of thinking about above Yusung. I was honestly, I was tempted. But I will leave Dokgak at the bottom of S. But we're getting Dokkaebi taxed. We're paying the paywall. Then we have Lycaon. Lycaon's a character I really, 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 really like. But, here comes the but. again, just kind of expected more, kind of thought we'd have more. I guess we don't need more given that Dokja just kind of does Lycaon's thing now, but better, basically. But I do like Lycaon. You know, throwing in a really well-designed furry, it's like, okay, well, that's different. I like that. I like when there's a very nice diversity of character designs and like everybody looking a bit different and everything. So I do like that. I like Lycaon's design. I like Lycaon's character. I like everything about the character. I just wish there was more. And again, that disappointment is maybe fueling me to want to put Lycaon lower. But I'm either going, like, I'm stuck between, you know what? This will make it easier. I'll move the swordsman up to A and put him above Lycaon. Because I wanted Lycaon in A. I was like, definitely an A tier character for me. But I also feel like I like the swordsman maybe a little bit more. I like Lycaon's design more, but swordsman's character more. I'm going to go there for now. Then we get into, I'm seeing some characters I'm going to have some thoughts on. We have Dokja's mom. It's crazy that I've been doing this for like an hour and haven't even gotten to like some of the important main characters. If I did this as a stream, this would have been like 4 hours. Dokja's mom, Sugyeong, I believe is her name. Well, she's incredible. I like her a lot. I'm so glad that she's still around. You know, I feel like I don't have much thoughts outside of the things I've said in reactions. I kind of want to go S+. You know, I'm going to go S below the fourth wall. I'm double thinking. I'm rethinking that. I don't know. My brain's moving at 3 times speed. Yeah, I don't know. She's a very good character. Again, all the depth with her backstory with Dokja stuff, I feel like I don't need to just go over because you've read the story, and my reasoning for why she'd be this high is the story with Dokja. I think she's always been a really good character, but especially as we get into sort of the things she's done to try to protect him in her own way, and we can see that her trying to protect him in a way made things worse for him, and it's like so well written. I like that the realness of it is so well written. It's like so like harsh and dark and brutal, but not in an unrealistic over the top way where it's not like their dad, or it's not like Dokja's dad was just some like mustache twirling super evil caricature. No, he was an actual abusive alcoholic, like a just, you know, pretty realistic abusive alcoholic. It like wasn't like over the top, like, oh, look how hard the main character's backstory was. It was a really, even if you've not been through that yourself, relatable sort of backstory that you really feel for both Dokja and Dokja's mom, and you can see how both of them went their own ways from this, and how she did everything she could, suffering so much, thinking that she was doing what was best for Dokja, but then we see from Dokja's perspective, he has so much resentment for her, because even though everything she did was out of love, out of trying to protect him, we see that that's, you know, a human error on her part, where in a lot of ways that's not what he really needed, and he had to carry his own trauma because of not only what happened with his dad, but because of her actions. I like that it's not as simple as when you learn the truth, it's like, oh, everything's smoothed over now. It's like, no, you learned the truth, but it's still like Dokja still has problems, and a lot of his problems were still because of her. She was a victim in all of this, absolutely 1,000,000%. I don't think she was any percent at fault, but at the same time, even though she's not at fault at all, it still is what leads into a lot of Dokja's trauma. And I guess, you know, it's like Soo-young said before, there's no such thing as a little trauma. So I think she's amazing, and the way she's written is great. But man, just the chills and the fear that Fourth Wall can instill, and like the scariness of the interaction with Dokja was so good. Like Fourth Wall is like actually a scary figure within the story. Like the mystery behind it, the power that it holds, is actually kind of terrifying. And I think that's so compelling. So both of these, I think, are very compelling characters, and maybe you could argue they shouldn't be paired up with Yusung and Dokak, but I like Yusung and Dokak. Then we've got, Dokja's mom's girlfriend, roommate, prison guard or prisoner, not really sure 100%, but, she's been around. She's done some things. She's really cool. I'll give her that. But not much of a character, actually, to me personally. Like, not too much personality. I guess there's been a little bit. I like some of the scenes that we've had with some of the side characters. I definitely like her a lot and would put her in A tier. Let's see. Let me think. Where would she go in A tier? Honestly, I like her more than Nirvana. I don't like her more than Iris. I don't think I like her more than the Yamata no Orochi. So she'll go in there for now. Then we've got the bully who transformed into a furry. Very colorful. This is the, you see, Lycaon is the Japanese artist drawing a furry. This is the colorful neon sort of American or European artist drawing a furry type of design. I think that part of the story is incredibly good. The connection to Dokja is very good. Again, Dokja trying to work through his past, through a lot of that stuff. We see the character before as well. A lot of that's so good. I think that's where the story really hit a new level for me, is Dokja traveling with Soo-young, the interactions with Soo-young and then with Junghyuk, fighting with his past and stuff. I think that part of the story is what took ORV from, this looks very nice and the story is, followable. The story's fine. I think that part of the story is what took ORV to a new level for me. And like I kept saying, the story just kept getting better and better. It started off good, and then I thought, okay, this is really well organized. This is good and all. It's whatever. And then I think by the time we got to this, I'm like, wow, this stuff is really, really good. Because even the stuff before that, it was getting really good. Once we got sort of up onto the surface and all, I started thinking it was getting like really better, and then even better than that when we're following that into the catastrophe stuff, which was incredible, and it just always keeps improving, I feel like. And this is a big part of that, but as an individual character, it's like, whatever, As an individual character, I'm thinking C tier. I mean, they were a jerk. It's funny because I like Soina. It's just that they didn't do anything ever. And there's another character that I like the part in the story, but they're a jerk. I don't like them at all. Even D tier, screw them. They kind of suck. It's one of those things where good part of the story, love seeing the conflict with Dokja, but they kind of suck. And it's not one of those kind of sucks that I'm like, oh, but I can see where they're coming from to a certain degree. No, they just are like a lame person. They are an awful person. Where it's like Nirvana, it's like, okay, Nirvana is like arguably kind of evil in some ways, but you really, really get where Nirvana is coming from and see how Nirvana got to be that way. Same with Reinhardt. Reinhardt is like, okay, yeah, they're doing villainous stuff. They're doing maybe some of the worst stuff we've seen in the series from villains, I guess. But you see what Reinhardt's trying to do. For Reinhardt, it's like, okay, we have to do this terrible stuff and all, but it's for the greater good of giving people a paradise. So, there's that. Whereas this guy's just a bully who then proceeded to be an evil furry. Bad person. And then we have another bad person, the former co-worker of Dokja's, who was like, man, post-apocalypse, let me be evil. There are people, there are cages. Why don't we put the people in the cages? We can have sort of, like coin-earning slavery. And were they cannibalistic? I don't really remember. Maybe they weren't. Or maybe when they became cannibalistic, they became the furries. It's been a while. But yeah, this guy sucked. This guy was an awful person as well. Maybe not as awful a person as the furry, but also an awful person. And a boring awful person. You're not just awful, you're mundanely awful. You're awful in a real world way. This guy's awful in an evil furry way. We don't have the we have evil people that might dress up as furries, but we don't have like evil actual wolf people. So there's like a degree of separation from reality. This guy is like awful in a way that could happen in the real world. So yeah, this guy sucks. He's bad. I would still put him above Sulhua, though, just to keep the joke running, but also because while Sulhua sticks around and does absolutely nothing, this guy played a good role as showing, like, Dokja could have ended up like this guy if Dokja didn't suck. Like, if Dokja sucked, if Dokja wasn't a good person, he could have ended up like this. But also just as the first step in Dokja confronting his past, like he had to go through that journey of. So I think that good part of the story, good villain, just awful person. So F tier, awful person. Then we have the dude who is one of the kings of Seoul and who has done absolutely nothing. I think this might be another F tier, just like not evil, and I guess honestly has maybe had more interactions with our main characters than Sulhua has, but he again just kind of sucks. He hasn't done anything. He's done next to nothing, and he's not, like, I don't think he's, like, evil, but I think he's kind of bad. Again, let me refresh myself. Junil-do, and apparently, even on the wiki, there was, like, no information on him. He's done so little. So, yeah, very disappointing. Like, I don't know, his design could be cool if he had a cool character, and it's one of those things where, like, you know, I kind of want more from the kings and everything. So yeah, lame. Big lame. Then from there, we have MIA. We have UMIA, the sister of Yoo Jung-hyuk, who once again is some... Do they just keep her in like a pocket space? Do they keep her stuffed in a bag or something? Because a lot of the time, they're traveling, or we see the group that she's supposedly in, and she's just not there. She is truly UMIA. She is around, but once again, never doing anything, never being anything. When she's first introduced, we have this really entertaining scene that I'm like, oh my god, Yoo Jung-hyuk has a sister. That's going to be such an interesting aspect to his character and a new sort of interesting part of the story. And it'll be interesting to see how she interacts with other members of the group, and she never does any of that. She's never interacting with other members of the group. She's never doing anything. She doesn't have any influence whatsoever over Jung-hyuk's character. I don't remember if she's ever had any influence over his character. I don't remember if she's ever done anything or has ever sort of been in the story in a role that makes what Jung-hyuk do or how he reacts to things any different. I legitimately think that if she weren't in the story literally wouldn't change at all. I mean, you could say that with Sulhua too, but like, I mean quite literally, she is just absolutely nothing. She isn't even a character. That said, though, I don't hate her. D tier. Yeah, you know what? I'm comfortable with that. Then we have Seyoung, and we're getting to Seyoung kind of early, but anybody who's read, I feel like I am so far, like S++, I am not at all in a minority saying that. Everyone in the comments, I at first maybe didn't think people would even love her as much as I do, but I just think that she is the most entertaining character. She has some of the best interactions with Dokja. She has some of the deepest character stuff go on outside of Dokja and Yoo Jung-hyuk. So yeah, one of the absolute best characters, maybe my absolute favorite. You'll have to wait and see. But I even thought, I don't know, do other people think of her this highly? Because, you know, she can be kind of abrasive towards the main characters, and some people like sort of the more bland parts of the main crew, in my opinion. Like, you know, Sung-an and Hyun-sung are a little on the blander side, and so I feel like people who like them might not like her as much, but no, like, she seems universally loved, if my comments are anything to go by. So yeah, universally loved, including by me. Then we have the king who got crushed. Entertainment. High entertainment. At least B tier. More entertaining than so many of these other characters. I really, and you know, you could say disappointment by thinking he would be something, and then he ended up not being much of anything. But the way that it was done was very well done. The way that it was done was extremely entertaining. So I'm going to go here for now. But again, I might reorder this B tier a bit, because, like, you know, does he deserve, Catastrophe of Questions, does he deserve to be this low or this high, depending on how you look at it? I have no idea. So Ina is going to have C tier all to themselves, apparently. But either way, we continue. We continued with the one-eyed Maitreya King. I don't remember his actual name, just the Maitreya King. he was Han something because there was the joke about people being named like Han and then that connecting with like things that Dokja does and stuff, right? So there is that. Never mind, his name is Cha Sang-kung. No clue. I didn't even know his name. I did not know that was his name whatsoever. He's been around. He supported Dokja a little bit. He hasn't done much of anything. He's existed. He exists. His design's neat. Maybe here. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on Mia. She's not a character, but she hasn't done anything I dislike either, except not be a character. Again, why is she even here? She doesn't affect Junghyuk. It's really weird. But either way, maybe she'll affect him in some way in the future. Next, we have this guy who was part of the, the little historical battle we had, where they got a little bit too into their roles, and so we're like taken over and started turning the world into their actual real sort of historical battle. Okay, I'll be real with you. I've spent a while looking through characters and I can't actually find him. So I do not remember what his name actually was. It was whatever though. He was kind of a nothing character. Like, it feels weird putting these characters that actually have memorable things lower than him. Some of the ones that are lower than him are lower because they're kind of jerks and also not much of characters. This guy was around though. That's about all I can say. I'll just throw him there. Then we've got Min Ji-won. I love Min Ji-won. She hasn't done as much as I would have liked her to, but she's actually, for somebody who isn't a part of the main cast, I feel like she's been one of the most recurring characters outside of the main cast. She like keeps coming back. And on top of her continuing to come back, she's kind of just like been nice and good, and she's entertaining a lot of the time. So yeah, I actually really like her. I'd say above Gerbil for sure. Then, compared to these others, you know what? I do really like her, actually. I like Min Ji-won. She's going above Iris, but below 42nd Yusung. Then we've got... Is this Paul? I feel like there are some characters that are definitely not included up here because, you know, maybe my memory is just not the absolute best, but in those early days, it felt like every 2 chapters we'd get a new guy that looks kind of similar with a kind of similar name and a kind of similar power that was just a bad guy for like a couple chapters and then we move past them. At least that's how it felt in the early days. But, you know, I don't know if all of those are included. But we've got, I think this is Paul. Let me look. I remembered his glasses being more like actual glasses, though, and they look more like sunglasses here. But I think that might just be the panel and the lighting and all. Yeah, that's totally Paul. Okay, so get Dokubi taxed. He was a jerk. But his story was good. The stuff at the end with him was good. Basically everything was good, but I wouldn't put him above the one with the monocle and beard because, you know, they're kind of more neat. And they had the interactions with Bi-young, which were pretty cool. I also wouldn't go above Persephone, so I'm thinking here for right this second. Then we have Min Sub, I think was his name. Again, gonna have to look this one up. I really like... I'm gonna put Min Sub together with... Oh god, I don't remember. Oh man, what was his name again? Lee Sung-kook, that's what it was. So Lee Sung-kook and Min Sub kind of together most of the time. I actually like both of them. I wish they had gotten to do more though. They felt like just outside of like our main character group. Min Sub I like more though, but I actually do like both of these characters. I'd say I don't like them a lot though. B tier is probably the most fair for them. They are pretty mid. Maybe they can join C tier with So Inna. Maybe that's Min Sub I'd put above Tendasio. Yeah, something like that maybe. Then we have the Internet Kid. Internet Kid, I'm not even going to waste the time looking up his name. I am so disappointed once again because one of the kings joining the group and kind of like dragged along with the group still to this day, kind of not as part of the main group or anything, but does like nothing almost all of the time. And then sometimes he'll like call in and they'll be like, oh, yo, what's going on? You're totally a part of the group. And he's totally like not kind of, I guess he just provided communication for them, but he hasn't done like anything. In terms of like character progression or having any sort of character narrative at all. So yeah, fairly disappointed personally. But I don't hate him. but fairly disappointed. I don't know. I guess I would even prefer Yu Jung-chuk's sister. Honestly, it's hypocritical of me, but Yu Jung-chuk's sister I'm just sort of neutral on. Like, I don't hate her or anything for not being much of a character. I'm just, like, as much as I think she should be a character, I'm just, when I think about her, I'm just neutral on her in general. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just throw him there for now. He doesn't matter. The story doesn't treat him like he matters, so why should I? Now we have the Cinema Dungeon boss. Incredibly cool. I actually like the Cinema Dungeon a lot. The boss himself looks quite cool, but doesn't do all that much. So I'm kind of just, wasn't really much of a character, actually. Like, as much as I love the Cinema Dungeon, I think as a character and the role they played, did less, and maybe even I like less than the bully when it comes to the bully sort of bringing more out of the other characters. So again, D tier kind of filling up a little bit. Next we have Anna Croft, who's been hyped up from the beginning of the series. She's really neat, really interesting, but just hasn't done anything yet. And I'm not really hyped for Anna Croft in the same way that I'm hyped for like Secret of Plotter or The Fourth Wall. I do like her. I am excited for her in the future. But, I don't know, that excitement just hasn't been much of anything yet. I'll say maybe above Top Swordsman, below Kyrgios is where I'm feeling right this moment. Then we've got Gong Pildu, who is in a similar situation to Solhwa in just being along with the main group, but I feel like Pildu, we've seen a lot more actual interactions with the main group, has been very helpful through a lot of the actual like physical fights and stuff, and has had a bit more interaction, like quite a bit more interaction with Dokcha, like interactions we actually get to see with the main group. So I'm kind of C tier on Pildu. I feel like for some people, Pildu's probably a character they don't like or think much of because he doesn't really do anything, much like Solhwa. But I think some people probably like him in he's underrated and a fun little part with some funny moments here and there kind of a character. So I feel like he's a character that some people might really like and some people might really not like. I don't know, he's pretty meh to me though, personally. I'm actually thinking, honestly, right here in C tier is fine. Next up, we've got Lee Ji-hye, and Ji-hye is actually a character that I really, really, really love. Do I love enough for S tier? I don't know. Either high A or low S, I'm feeling. Ji-hye is extremely entertaining. We saw her playing parts in the story from the very beginning. The personality's great. The character so far has been great. We've got some development and some progress. The interactions with other characters are amazing. Do I like her? I think that if you asked me a couple arcs ago, I would have put Yusung above Ji-hye. But to me, Yusung has just fallen too much into being paired with Gil-young. And Gil-young is kind of dragging her character down, even though she has had some great moments with Dokcha and all. I feel like her character has been kind of bogged down a little bit and hasn't been as exciting recently, whereas Ji-hye hasn't really gotten to do too much recently, but she's still very, very entertaining. But then between her and Dokcha's mom, it's like, who do I like more? I guess I still like Dokcha's mom more than Ji-hye, but it's a close one there, I think. I really do like Ji-hye a lot. Next is a Dokubi I don't remember. I'm going to have to look this one up. Biryu, cute. Didn't do much, but I like him and he's cute. Dokubi tax. I like Yongki more. I would say maybe B tier. This is a B tier Dokubi. B tier Dokubi. Maybe more than Asuka though. I don't know. I really like the Dokubi. Yeah, Dokubi goes here. I really like him. So then we've got his name was Chonin Ho, right? Fuck Chonin Ho. All my homies, everybody hates Chonin Ho. He was an absolute jerk, one of the worst people we've seen. Not that compelling of an antagonist, despite being so kind of despicable. And I feel like his people, the people working for him, were maybe arguably doing the worst things we've seen people doing so far. I don't know, there's kind of a bit of competition for that, but these guys felt kind of actually evil to me, so screw these guys. Now then, what would that, where would that make me put him? The most evil. Okay, we found a character worse than Solhwa. fair. You know, we found a character, and not even that they're a bad character, more that they're a character that's like super evil. So if it comes to characters I dislike, we found a character I dislike more than Sohwa. And then we've got Huiwon, who is an easy S+. Or maybe, yeah, S+. Huiwon has been one of my favorites since the beginning. She's a character that, where a lot of other characters have these very entertaining aspects, and maybe their actual characters are a little bit lighter, she's a character that's much heavier, more serious, has had a lot of things going on. We've gotten to see a really good connection with Dokja. I think she has one of the best relationships with Dokja when it comes to their interactions and the entertainment there. The way she jokes around with them is like so good. They're like such a well-written friendship. It's like really, really, really well done there. In terms of fights, she's been one of the team's powerhouses. She's very strong, and I love that we've gotten to see her being the capable lead at so many points, but then also her having her own struggles and needed to be helped by others. Like, I don't know, she's just kind of hit every aspect of a character very well. So yeah, I personally really like her. I wouldn't go S++, and I'm torn between her and Uriel. I'll have to think a little bit more. But we have a couple more characters to talk about and put on the board. Then I can focus on the ranking a little bit harder. Next. Okay, this is going to maybe spoil something. We have Yoo Jung-kyuk. I was trying to, like, you know, keep some of my ranking a little bit secretive. I think when I last did my ranking, my top 3 was a very solid Dokja, Sooyoung, and Bi-young. I think those were my top 3, and it was really solid, and everybody else was just behind those 3. Yoo Jung-kyuk, when I first read earlier in the series, you'll probably know that I was kind of meh on him at first. It's like, okay, he's a cool, edgy character. He's the main character, neat part of the story, relationship with Dokja's neat. But he's just had so much development as we've continued on. He is extremely entertaining, and his development in terms of the way he reacts to situations, the sacrifices he's willing to make, how much he's changed, and how much he's had to fight to be open to that change. All of the serious aspects of his character, I think, are probably some of the best in the series outside of Dokja himself, and it's hard to beat Dokja himself because over 80% of the story is hard focused on Dokja. But then comes the entertaining aspects. So many people are probably like, oh, I love Jung-kyuk because he's so exciting and badass and hype and all of this. He's aura farming, modern lingo. Sorry about all that. But for me, I'm like, this guy's a fucking dork. I love him. I love how much of an edgelord he is. He is S++. I love Jung-kyuk. He is not only broken into the top 3, I think he's at the top. I think I'm going to say Jung-kyuk is my favorite character. He is such a dork. I love him. I love him so much. He is so fun. Like, not only are all the serious parts of his character incredible, but all of the fun parts of his character, the comedy, the being a tsundere at times, the interactions with all of the other characters, he is so fun. Jung-kyuk is an amazing character and a fun character. I love him so much. he is at the top of the list, I think. So we're spoiling what is, you know, possibly my number 1 favorite character. We still got some more to rank, but I love Jung-kyuk so much. Like, he has gone from, again, a character I didn't like that much in the earlier days to a character that when I did my last ranking at chapter like 109 or whatever, wasn't in my top 3, to now I just love him so much. So after that, we're continuing on. We have Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, very entertaining. Again, I haven't gotten to one of them in a while, but I've talked about the constellations that have been with us for a long time. Abyssal Black Flame Dragon's been there. Extremely entertaining. We have, of course, interactions not only through the chat messages and with Dokja, but now, of course, with Sooyoung as well. And I would say above... do I go above Iris? Above Yamata no Orochi. I'll go below Iris, below Minjiwon, but the second place of our sort of 4 or third place actually out of our 4 constellations that have been around. I really like Abyssal Black Flame Dragon. Then we have, so Namun, I think is actually very good. Like, if we had just got Namun as like the intro antagonist character, that would have been very cool. That would have been a very good way to handle the story. But then seeing Namun again elevates Namun so much. I really, really, really like what the story did with a lot of characters, but Namun specifically a lot. So I'm actually thinking B tier. I think Namun was handled really well as a character. I don't think I like him as much as the Catastrophe of Questions, though, but, you know, I'll order them a bit once I get them all up there. Then we have Hyunsung. This one might be controversial. I loved Hyunsung in the early days. I wanted so much of Hyunsung. If you look at some of my favorite characters in a lot of shows, the sort of, you know, good boy side character is a character trope that I usually rank really highly. I love those types of characters. My Hero Academia, Kirishima is like my favorite. But I am just so disappointed with how little he's developed. I'm so disappointed with how little we've gotten with Hyunsung. We got like the one thing that was like one chapter, maybe two, with him and Huiwon. But I'm just so disappointed at how little we've gotten. And that shows that I love the character in a way, but I'm just so disappointed in the character. Like, as much as all these other characters I like, most of the side characters don't get that much time. Again, we're hard focusing on Dokja, but I just feel like he is one of the characters. He's not the most left behind character, but he is one of the most left behind characters to me. So I actually wouldn't put him super highly because of it. I like Kyrios or Kyrios Rodgrim more. I don't know if at first I was thinking I might put him in B tier, which is why I was saying for some of these characters, I'm like, you know, putting some of these in B tier, you know, is going to be weird if they're higher than some main characters, but I actually don't think I'll put him that low. I think I do like him more than the Swordsman or Anna Croft. I'll put him below Kyrgios for now. Yeah, I think that's a good place now. I really, really do like him. I am just so bummed that I wanted his character to be more, and it kind of hasn't been more so far. Like, I feel like we just have not seen enough. And then we have, I do not remember who this guy is. This demon-looking guy. Have we even seen this demon-looking guy, or is he just ordered wrong in the list and he's not somebody we get until later on? I kind of put it together. This is going to be a spoiler. I kind of put it together because I was like, who would be this early in it other than like Han, like Mr. Han, who was on the train, Han Mungo. Apparently he, I guess, becomes a demon-looking guy. So, spoilers that Han Mungo returns and becomes a demon-looking guy, yes. So, sorry about that if you didn't want me to spoil myself on that. But from what we got of him before this, didn't he try to do some creepy stuff? I thought I remembered something like that. I mean, he was kind of a jerk, but he was an entertaining jerk, but I also think he tried to do some creepy stuff. And he wasn't that much of an entertaining jerk. I definitely put him below the Maitreya King. I don't even remember this guy, though, so he's got to go above the guy I don't even remember. And now we're getting into some more main characters. Byung is one of my absolute favorites. I love Byung so much. Byung is an S+ character. I love the design, adorable, kind of our main Dokkaebi, and you know that I love the Dokkaebis, Dokkaebi tax coming in. We got Mama Byung here. I almost want to go S++. I love Byung so much. Very entertaining, very good character interactions with Dokja, very good character journey from the start until where I am now. So yeah, I think that's a good sort of lineup right now. And then we've got a couple more characters. We have Gil-young. At first, I was really intrigued because Gil-young had all this stuff going on where it's like, oh, he actually is strong in this way or can do this, or these characters like Yoo Jun-kyuk are interested in him. And I thought that he was really neat in the early game. And then the longer we went on, the more he just didn't ever do anything. And that's kind of where we still are. He basically never ever does anything. And on top of never doing anything, when he does do something or when he is around for a comedy gag, it feels like he's there to be paired with Yoo-sung and drag her character down. The rivalry with Yoo-sung was entertaining at first, but it's just become annoying. And it feels like Yoo-sung has other character traits and other things going on other than the rivalry, whereas Gil-young doesn't. He doesn't really do much outside of the rivalry anymore. He doesn't really have many character traits anymore. His character isn't really unique anymore because Yu Sung came along and is just a much better version of him. So yeah, Gil Young I liked a lot, and I think maybe in my earlier ranking I might have put highly, maybe even in like A tier or something. But now I actually just don't like Gil Young very much. I feel like he annoys me most of the time that he's around now, and that's not even that often. He's not even doing things that often anymore. And when he is, it's an annoying gag that I think is dragging other characters down. So yeah, I'm not a big fan anymore, honestly. Truly, honestly, not a big fan of Gil Young anymore. I would still maybe go above Gong Pil-du because there is still the connection with Dokja. There is still some nice moments there. But again, the connection with Dokja is just better with Yu Sung. Yu Sung's character is just Gil Young's, but better in every way. Yeah, Gil Young just amounted to like nothing as a character so far. I mentioned that Hyun Sung was one of the most left behind characters, and I say one of, not the most left behind character, because Gil Young's the most left behind character. The story just kind of kept moving, and Gil Young, in my opinion, did not keep up with it. So yeah, Gil Young I think is a character that was good, but the story just moved on and he just hasn't done or been anything. Then we have Sang-ah, who I really, really like, and looking from a more sort of objective judgment of the story kind of sense, you know, as objective as you can be, I think that she's a very good character. She just isn't a character that excites me very much. I think she's good in every way when it comes to her plot, her development, her relationship with Dokja. I think that it's good in every way, not necessarily great all the time, but good. It's just that she doesn't excite me. Like if we go a while without Sang-ah and she shows back up, I'm like, oh, neat, it's Sang-ah. It's not like something that's gonna get me super, super excited like maybe Ji-hye or Soo-young would from our main group. I even think she's definitely not even as exciting to me as Yu Sung. I do think she's better than Hyun Sung though, and of course better than some of the like definitely better than like the sort of B string like Gong Pil-du or Sul-hwa. I think a lot of people might even say that Ji-hye belongs in the B string, but I'm giving her more props, more credit than that. So I think A tier for sure. I wouldn't go any lower than A. I definitely think she's better than Hyun Sung for me. I kind of want to like Hyun Sung more, but like I said, he just hasn't done as much, whereas I think Sang-ah has. I do like Sang-ah more. I would be exciting to see more of Dokja's mom's friend. I'd be excited to see more of her and get more development. But as for right now, I would put Sang-ah higher. Abyssal Black Flame Dragon's tough because Abyssal Black Flame Dragon's kind of funny and, you know, more entertaining. I would still go... I'll go above Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, I guess. Let me think some more after I put Dokja up here. And then we go from bottom to top to see worst to best. So, Dokja, I don't think, like I've talked about him a lot because every character is based, like, on their connection to him, basically. Because the series hard focuses on him. He is an extremely good character, and if you know me, if you see any of my rankings, usually main characters don't rank really highly because of the kind of tropes, the kind of writing that goes into a main character. I am just not a big main character guy. I am a side character guy. I will take fun side characters over the main character any day because main characters are bound to certain types of plots. However, Dokja, I think, is peak main character. I don't know if I would say any main character is better. Literally, of anything I've read, of anything I've watched, I think Dokja might be the best main character. I can't think of a single main character that I like more. He is the Chad peak main character. Dokja is the top of the mountain main character. S+. I think he's incredible. His writing is very good, but never in a ridiculous over-the-top way. He can still be very fun and very entertaining, especially when it comes to his interactions with characters like Wee-won or Soo-young or even Bi-young. His interactions with them are great. Emotionally, it's all very well handled. I think, again, his character is incredible in every single way. So they nail it. Again, I'm just personally a bigger side character guy than main character guy. I think most main characters from most things I read might not even make it this high, but Dokja is just the best main character. And now that I've been through all of the characters I've seen so far, let's rank them, order them worst to best, just, to be sure here. So, Inho, definitely my least favorite. He was a jerk in like the skeeviest of ways. Sulhwa is, why is she here? Also, I like joking around that she's kind of the worst. Then we have Inho, or Ildo, something like that. Very similar name there. But, yeah, he also kind of sucks. He's like a king, but never around, and kind of a untrustworthy jerk when he kind of is. This guy's an absolute piece of trash, but he like was a good part for like Dokja's story moving forward, but he is an absolute piece of trash. Then we've got the internet guy and Mia. I do like Mia more. Honestly, Mia hasn't done anything ever. MIA, of course, but I don't even remember this guy's name. I'd still put him above Internet Kid, though. Internet Kid I want to like, he just hasn't done anything ever. But then again, same with MIA. She is better than him, because even though he had some funny jokes, I think he just wasn't a very good person. Bald guy, at least neat design, Maitreya King, hasn't done anything, though. Leader Izumi, I think was his name, leader of the Tokyo Dome for a bit until not anymore for reasons by way of death, I believe. Didn't really do anything, but he's cool at least, I guess. Very cool. Also, I don't remember doing very much. Cool part of the story, but even the fight really wasn't much against him so much as it was kind of Jungkook versus Dokja, right? Their first kind of clash. At least if I'm remembering correctly. Then this guy, again, absolute jerk, absolute douchebag. Actually, I'm moving him down. Screw it, he's going into F tier. Absolute douchebag. Even worse, well, I mentioned before that this guy's a more realistic kind of douchebag. Both of these guys suck. They're the worst. But they were good in bringing Dokja's character forward. But they both suck. I hate them. They're bad people. I say that as I put other bad people higher because they're more entertaining. Gonkaple Do's kind of whatever for me. I guess C tier is the whatever tier. Gil Young I liked at first, but now I don't really like very much. I find him kind of annoying now and wish that he was better. This was, I forget his name already, something with an S. Sungkook? But yeah, not great, just whatever. I kind of liked him, but whatever. And then I want to like Soina, but just didn't do anything. Tentasio carried by the design, really. Also didn't do too much. Minsub I actually quite like, but the other characters I like more. Same with Paul. I like as a character, but I guess the worst of the Dokkaebi, the biggest jerk of the Dokkaebi. Then Persephone, I'm actually kind of meh on. I think good as a character, but do I like her very much? Not really. Then his name was Baram, I think, actually. Right? Did we get a name? The bearded Dokkaebi. He's neat. I like him. I like him more than this guy. I think I'm putting the Centipede guy too high. Oh well, he is where he is. Namun, I think, was very good for his part in the story. Same with Catastrophe of Questions. I love that part of the story, but he's also a real jerk of a character, like a serious jerk of a character. Then Manu is pretty neat. I think it'd be neat to see more. It was this king, hilarious, very funny. So I actually, B tier is fine. Then the Antinous, she was pretty good, carried mostly by the design. Character wasn't terrible or anything, but wasn't really much of anything, but carried by the design. Then I actually really like the Eater of Dreams, but I also feel like Eater of Dreams is just more of a plot device than a character. As a character, still kind of okay though. Then we have Michio and Asuka, who are both good. I think I like Asuka a little bit more because of the story connections. But both of them are just kind of good to me. Then Biryu, who again, Dokkaebi tax, very cute. Love the Dokkaebi. Selena, I want to see more of. Then there's, I always forget her name. Below Selena. Above Biryu. That's fair. Then top of B tier will be Dionysius. B for booze, I guess. He's the god of booze. Dionysus is pretty neat. Lycaon, bottom of A. I really like Lycaon, but I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get more. Though Lycaon's abilities get to keep going in the story through Dokja. Swordsman, I do like the Swordsman, But again, just a very cool character, not entirely the deepest to me. I think the coolest thing is the kind of rebellious nature against the constellations and everything, but we haven't gotten too much into that yet, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. Anna Croft is mainly based on hype for the future because she's been hyped up from the beginning of the series, and she looks neat and all, has had a few interactions here and there through the Dreamscape pretty much. Then we have Hyun-sung, who I'm a bit disappointed we haven't got more of, but I still really, really like enough to put an A. Kyrgios, I think, was great. I really like Kyrgios. Once again, very similar to the Swordsman to me, but I like Kyrgios more as an individual character. The least favorite of their main constellations dropping super chats is the Prisoner of the Golden Headman. I really do like him, though. Then Oedipus is really cool. Love the design. Again, another one carried a bit by design, but I also think is a neat sort of representative of the Olympus Nebula. Then we've got, or their name, Yonki. Yonki I really like. Really cute and really fun in that part of the story where they were serving a substitute for Byung. Then you've got Reinheit, who I think was a very good villain. Really understandable in doing some of the most evil stuff we've seen, but doing it to try to make a place for people. I think that was a neat part of the story. Neat character, kind of a jerk, but again, well written enough for me to like. Same with Nirvana. I really do like Nirvana, though I almost want to put Nirvana lower because they were so much of a jerk. Nirvana was a jerk. They were a bad person. I mean, I guess that works for antagonists, but entertaining antagonist. Then Dokja's mom's friend, Cho something. I always forget her name as well. Always forgetting the prison gang members. But I think it's neat that she's been around. I'd love to see more of her as an individual character and get some more development. I would take her as part of the squad over Seolhwa any day. Orochi is maybe one of the best antagonists or villains so far. That was one of the best fights against the villains too. The fight against the Outer World God was very good too, though. But then we have Abyssal Black Flame Dragon. Very, very entertaining. We haven't seen as much as some of the other constellations, but extremely entertaining. Sangha, I really, 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 really like. She just doesn't really stand out to me like some of the others personally. Then Iris. How would I compare Iris to Sangha? I would still put Iris above her. Very entertaining. Yeah, I would stick with this order. I think I did a good job. Usually I move the order around more than this. Then we've got Min Ji-won, who I really like a lot. I would honestly take Min Ji-won as part of the main group. I like her a lot. I honestly want to put her above 42nd Ju-sung. I like 42nd Ju-sung a lot, though. I'm a little torn on that placement. I like both versions of Ju-sung a lot, but I think I'll stick with that. I think I'll also leave the Secretive Plotter at top of A, just because we haven't seen enough yet. I am probably way overrating Dokgak, but I remember being so entertained by Dokgak during the stuff where they were interacting with Dokja. Then there's Yusung and Ji Hye, who I think are two of my absolute favorites. I almost want to put them above Fourth Wall. I think I'm just really hooked by the sort of recency bias of Fourth Wall with just getting that stuff recently. Dokja's mom. This is so tough. I really like these four a lot. So this is my top 10 for sure. Top 10, and then the outlier is Dokgak. So 10th place Yusung. Does that sound right to me? This is so tough. Because do I put them ahead of the Fourth Wall or not? I'm going to say 10th place Fourth Wall, 9th place Yusung, 8th place Dokja's mom. No. 8th place Ji Hye. I'll leave her there. And 7th place Dokja's mom. 6th place is going to be another tough one. 6th place I'll stick with Wewon. I really love Wewon. but I think she's going to get knocked out of the top 5. Because I want to put Uriel in top 5. Uriel to me is 5th place. And then we have my 3 from last time. I think my 3 from last time... Do I put Bi-young above Dokja? Again, I love Dokja as a main character. He's incredible. I really love Bi-young. And I'm more of a side character guy. So yeah, Dokja 4th, Bi-young 3rd. Though those two are kind of interchangeable, I could swap them back and forth. And then 2nd place is, like, 2nd and 1st is one that could be swapped back and forth. That's why I put them both in S++. Just because if you were to ask my number 1 favorite character, I would be back and forth between Yoo Jung-hyuk and Han Soo-young. So Soo-young I'm going to put 2nd for now, and Jung-hyuk I'm going to say is my favorite. Because I love all of these 4 for, like, serious reasons. I love all of these up here at the top for serious reasons, but then I just think Jung-hyuk is so entertaining. I think all 4 of these are very entertaining as well. Same with Uriel, one of the characters that's made me laugh the most. But yeah, I think this is my top. I think this is my top 5, and then right out of the top 5 is Suwon, and then this is my top 10, and then right outside of the top 10 is Dokgak of all characters. The only thing I'm questioning is whether I want to put 42nd Yusung higher, but other than that, I think this is my lineup. So either way, extremely long video. This might actually take me a while to edit and to make into something, because I've been recording for well over 2 hours. So with well over a 2-hour recording session down, I'm gonna have to edit this into something. Thank you for being here and watching it. Sorry it wasn't as a stream. Again, a stream might have taken double the amount of time. I hope you enjoyed the video though, and I will be back next week with reactions. So if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this character ranking, what you thought of my character, like my placements, what your thoughts are on the characters. I should have said, I'm going to edit it into the beginning of the video to tell people to put their predictions down in the comments, because I really want to see what people's predictions are for who they think my favorites are. If they've been watching my read-throughs, that'd be very entertaining. But yeah, I enjoyed this, so if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of anything. If I missed out on any characters that weren't included here that you wanted me to talk about, just let me know. We can talk down in the comments, or we can talk on Discord or Twitter. Just the server's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel by sharing the video around, or by dropping a super thanks, that's appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel, let me go to this. Support the channel by becoming a patron or channel member. You'll get your name at the end of videos, and One Piece videos a little bit early. Thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Hawley and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls, Effernono, JA and VD Band, Tierlist students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Elements, Pate RDL, and Elsa the Storyteller. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. It's turned into quite the bit of a long one. This is gonna take me a while to make into a video. But yeah, with that aside, thank you for supporting, thank you for being here watching, and I'll see you all next time.